Hey guys, what's up? This is my review for episode 1 of Ms. Marvel. So I watched the first episode of Ms. Marvel and I'm going to talk about it. There will be spoilers in this video, so here's a quick warning about that. So I watched the first episode of Ms. Marvel, the new MCU Disney Plus show, and I have to say I loved it. I think it was really fun. It was so different from what we've had. Marvel have been doing more and more different things, and I think it's working brilliantly. You know, there's been some missteps with, I think, Moon Knight. Moon Knight was very good, actually. I did love Moon Knight, but there was a few episodes that I did not like. But there's been a few missteps with a few things, like a few episodes. You know, like Hawkeye was a little bit of a misstep, but yeah. I think this is great. I loved the first episode. I think it was fantastic. It's very teenage. It's more for a younger audience. It's very sort of like a teenage vibe to it. It's very colorful. It's very unique. It reminds me of Into the Spider-Verse a little bit with the way, because it's very unique visually. The way they have the comic art on the screen, or not the comic art, but they have the drawings on the screen. They have, sort of, it's like we're inside this girl's mind that comes out into the world. It's an extension of her character, which is like, the drawings on the walls and stuff like that, but like they're not. It's sort of similar to breaking the fourth wall. I don't know. It's cartoonish. It's more for a younger audience, I would say, but it's brilliant. It doesn't take away from the story of it, which I thought was actually really enjoyable. I think, for starters, the visuals, I've already spoken about it a little bit, but the visuals of this show are 10 out of 10. It's so different. It's so Kamala Khan. It's exactly like how she is in the comics. I don't read many comics, but I've played the game. I know about this character. And yeah, it's very much like the comics, her character. Iman Vellani, the girl who plays Kamala Khan, she is fantastic. She's born to play Kamala Khan. She's so on beat straight away. She gets this character, and that's really awesome. It's really awesome to see a lead character who knows what they're doing and is really likable. So yeah, this is on a smaller scale than other shows. It's just, you can see how it's setting up the Marvels. She's a big fan of Captain Marvel. Actually, the opening of the show is amazing. There will be spoilers. So the opening of the show is her, sort of recording this little video, this little fan-made video of the Battle of Earth in Endgame. And she's a big fan of Captain Marvel, and she talks about how Captain Marvel comes and saves her. She's got the little cartoon drawings of every character. I think that's really fun. She's a big Avengers fan, she's similar to Kate Bishop in that way. And she sort of has a similar performance to Kate Bishop, which I really love Kate Bishop. I love Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop, and she sort of reminds me of this. So yeah, I loved it. I think it's really fantastic. I love the Avengers Con. I think that was really awesome. I love the smaller scale story on it, how it's not big world-ending stakes already. Moon Knight, let's say the first episode of Moon Knight was, he was getting attacked by a fucking werewolf. The plot of the first episode is her trying to sneak out so she can go to a convention with her friend. That is literally the plot of this first episode. But it is done in a way which makes it so entertaining and so fun to watch, and this character is so fun to watch. And I'm very excited to see her in the Marvels, which I think she's going to be fantastic in. And yeah, so there is something I do want to talk about, which is the change of her powers. They've changed her powers from the comic books. In the comics, as you probably already know, she can stretch, like Mr. Fantastic. She can stretch, she can embiggen, she can, make her body parts bigger, larger. And, embiggen is her power. She can make herself larger, she can make her arm larger, she can make her legs longer. Yeah, stuff like that. Now, they've changed it quite a bit in the show, which is she still has the stretchy big arm, which she does in the first episode to catch someone when they're falling. They still have that, but it's more like Green Lantern. She can walk on platforms. She can sort of shoot out these hard crystallized sort of discs. She shoots those out, that she does by accident at the Avengers Con, which is getting overwhelmed by the flashing lights. She does that kind of stuff. The power change doesn't bother me because I'm not a huge fan of Kamala Khan before this show. Like, I didn't, you know, I haven't, like, I know about the character, obviously, from the Avengers game, and, you know, I've been hearing about the character more and more. I know about this character. I know that her original powers were a big part of her story in the comics, and how it's, you know, an insecurity, how her powers aren't, you know, pretty and sparkly like all the other sort of female superheroes. That's her insecurity, how it's, you know, she stretches. But they've changed it in the show. I'm not a, you know, I don't mind it. I think it's fine. I think it works. They're visually, I think they look better than the stretching. So yeah. I also want to talk about the soundtrack to this episode. That's a killer soundtrack. We open with Blinding Lights by The Weeknd, and I just think that's fantastic. It has a really, really good soundtrack. So I think that's a positive for the show. I like her parents. Her parents are really good. The supporting cast is great. Bruno and her parents. But the story with her mum in this episode is really compelling. And I know that a lot of people relate to it. I've seen people talking about it after this episode. And I think that's done really well. I can see from her parents' angle. I see from her angle. I can see where both of them are coming from. But I think it's really good setting us up emotionally. I think in the comics she actually kills her mum by accident. I don't think they're going to do it in this show. I do not think they're going to go there at all. They've already sort of laid sort of areas in which this show is going to go by saying, like, the mum, she gets her powers from, she gets her powers from this band, right? And it was her grandmother's, apparently, her nanny's, which is how she says it in the show. And you can tell the mum already knows about the band and what it does, because she constantly throughout this episode, the mum is talking about her mum, her nanny, and how it's, you know, she was crazy and she fantasizes and she daydreams like Kamala does, because Kamala has a problem with, you know, fantasizing and daydreaming and stuff like that, and the mum can tell that she's like her mum. So the mum sort of knows what's going on with the bands, and that's probably why that's why she didn't want her interacting with it. That's why she didn't want her, like, in this world of superheroes and, like, being obsessed with them, because she knows about what happened with her mum, which we don't know what happened with her mum, but we can tell something's happening there. You know, those bands are clearly going to be like a generational thing. So yeah, they're clearly setting that up to be something. So we have no indication on who the villain is going to be in the show so far. I think there's been some leaks, which I'm not going to talk about leaks, because that's just ruins it, and that's not how the show's meant to be viewed, through leaks. So yeah, what the show so far is setting up no one to be a villain in particular. There is a post-credit scene which shows the guy from Spider-Man No Way Home, the Damage Control Man. I know he's in Succession. I don't know the actor's name, but yeah, he's sort of going to be in the show. There was a post-credit scene in the first episode. We'll see if that happens in the next episode. But yeah, all up, I loved it. It's a beautiful coming-of-age story. I can tell I'm going to love this show. I love the visuals. I love the soundtrack. I love the characters, and I'm loving the story so far. I'm so excited for episode 2. Look at that. We live in a world where Miss Marvel show is better than an Obi-Wan Kenobi show. That's crazy. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Let me know if you liked the episode down in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.